Welcome to AK Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of Soul Land 3, Legend of the Dragon King Part 113. Without any delay, start explanation. Xu Xiaoyan opened the door. Just as she had said, it was Yuan and Yehui in the flesh. The sight of Yu Jingyu took Yuan and Yehui by surprise, lips morphing into a frown as she stepped into the room. "What are you doing here?" Yu Jingyu glared half-heartedly at her. "Why can't I be here?" Though he spoke sarcastically, there was no steel to his words. After helping Yuan and Yehui obtain her fourth soul ring, Yu Jingyu understood the gap that existed between them. Coupled with the fact that she wasn't an evil soul master, he had no reason to trouble her anymore. Yuan and Yehui promptly ignored him and turned to Tang Wulin. "Help me make my battle armor. What do you want in exchange?" Tang Wulin shrugged. "I need to know what your profession is first." "I'm a third-rank mecha maker," said Yu Jingyu. "But I'm on the edge of the fourth rank. It shouldn't take me more than a month to break through." Yuan and Yehui furrowed her brow. "I'm a mechanic, fourth rank." "A mechanic?" Tang Wulin hadn't expected her to be a mechanic, and a fourth-rank one as well. A pensive look crossed Tang Wulin's face. "Okay. Jingyu, you can make your own and we'll lend you our secret weapon for a fee. But for you, Yuan, we'll need to cover the alloys and provide a maker for you. Do you have a design? How about other options?" Yuan and Yehui shook her head. "I've always been cultivating with a focus on harmonizing my two martial souls. Plus, because I have twin martial souls, it's harder to craft a battle armor for me. I haven't been satisfied with anyone's designs yet." Jiyu's eyes gleamed, her excitement practically tangible. "Designing battle armor for twin martial souls sounds like a good challenge. I'll need a lot of time to do it though. Also, if you really want a satisfying design, I think we'll have to wait until I'm a higher rank." "All right. I'll start saving contribution points then," Yuan and Yehui said. She spun on her heel to leave, stopping abruptly at the door. Then she turned back around. "Thank you." Xie shot up from his bed. Yuan and Yehui's expression froze, body stiffening like plank. Then she made a 180 and left. At the sound of the door shutting, everyone exchanged glances before staring at Xie. Xu Xiaoyan was the first to giggle, the rest following after her until they were roaring with laughter. Xie flushed beet red as he shouted, "What's so funny about getting up when my name's called? HMPH. Eventually, Yu Jingyu got up to leave. He needed to save up contribution points. No matter how good his relationship with Tang Wulin was, he couldn't ask Tang Wulin to do this as a favor. They were all students at Shrek Academy. They all carried a mountain of pressure on their shoulders. Rarely would someone take time out of their own busy schedule to help someone else out of the goodness of their heart, especially if the latter wasn't even in the same class. Tang Wulin made for his workshop after taking his time to recover. He shouldered the most responsibility of anyone on his team. He needed to forge alloys both for his teammates and for his clients Yuan and Yehui and Yu Jingyu. 8 people in total. Although they were each working on one piece of battle armor first, making it one piece of alloy per member, it was still hard to produce. He had to forge as much as possible to produce pieces he deemed adequate. Tang Wulin was no perfectionist, but he refused to compromise when it came to his own battle armor, only using alloys with a 90% harmony rate or higher. Yu Jingyu and Yi Xinglan were just as unyielding as him, so there was no way he'd skimp on the metals for his teammates. However, forging such alloys was easier said than done. Now that he had his third soul ring, cultivating was no longer his main priority. On the top of his list was improving his blacksmithing skill. Additionally, Tang Wulin's routine changed. No longer did he run in the morning, as it did nothing to improve his body the way he was now. His time was better spent cultivating, blacksmithing, or eating. After all, eating was an important method of cultivation, especially when there was an abundance of nutritious food available. These days, Xu Lixi joined Tang Wulin for every meal. Eating together kindled their appetites. The news of how Tang Wulin led his team to victory spread like wildfire. He was already famous throughout the first, second, and third grades, his name whispered wherever he went. It was a complete upset, no doubt about it. The Genius Youths ranking held a lot of weight in the outer court. The 5 rankers were still too young and weak to be on the continental rankings, but etching their names onto the Genius Youths ranking was proof of their strength. Yet the team of rankers, led by Wu Sidwa in the top 10, was defeated by a bunch of nameless people. Tang Wulin's team's victory went beyond inconceivable. It was a miracle. The academy respected the privacy of its students, so there were no recordings of the battle available to the public. As such, Tang Wulin became an enigmatic figure, the subject of many rumors. This also marked the first time he entered the sights of the other grades. Due to Tang Wulin's newfound fame, countless eyes were on him during breakfast. Many of those eyes belonged to girls his age attracted by his pretty face. In Shrek Academy, a pleasing appearance wasn't the most captivating trait. Strength was. However, after strength came looks. Tang Wulin fit the bill for what many girls were looking for in a man. Although he was only 13 years old, he possessed a mature temperament. Large doe eyes framed by long eyelashes. Neat, symmetrical face. These were all to the girls' liking. In fact, he was swarmed by girls on the way to the dining hall, from both his class and other classes. They asked for his number, and good-natured as he was, he complied without any complaints. "Wow! Wulin, you're so popular." Shulishi was green with envy. Tang Wulin smiled. "That's because of yesterday's victory." Shulishi shrugged at his words. "I'm part of the team too, so why aren't any girls asking for my number? Don't try to trick me. It's your good looks that's getting you all the girls." He threw his head back, belly shaking in a laugh. "I got my good looks from my parents. There's nothing I can do about it. It's just genetics." After this healthy bit of banter, Jiu, Xie, and Xu Xiaoyan finished their meals and left for class. This left Tang Wulin to stew in his thoughts about his parents. His heart trembled. Several years had passed since he lost word of them. If his parents returned, or contacted Mang Tian, they would definitely give him a call. Sadly, he waited for that call every day to no avail. "Hello, class president." Someone's voice interrupted his thoughts. Tang Wulin looked up to see a familiar-looking classmate. "Hello," he answered with a faint smile on his lips. Just like this, countless people greeted him before he even stepped foot in the classroom. This reaffirmed something he knew, branding it to his heart. If I want others to respect me, then I can only rely on myself. Tang Wulin neither let yesterday's victory get to his head nor bore a grudge for the way his classmates treated him previously. He always answered their greetings with a splendid smile, as if they had never ostracized him. As he finally reached the classroom, stepping through the doorway, one other person received him respectfully. "Good morning, class president." "Good morning," Tang Wulin answered subconsciously, freezing for a second when he recognized the voice. He whipped his head to the direction of the speaker. It was Luo Guixing. Their gazes locked. Luo Guixing smiled his trademark smile and stepped to the side, gesturing for Tang Wulin to proceed. Currently, the classroom was 2/3 full. No one had thought much of Luo Guixing waiting by the door. But at the sight of Luo Guixing respectfully greeting Tang Wulin, the entire class went silent in an instant. What they had witnessed just now signified one thing. Luo Guixing was admitting defeat. Luo Guixing was admitting defeat on behalf of the rankers. The other students still harbored doubt since Tang Wulin's team had won by the skin of their teeth, but the 5 rankers were backing down. Each of the 5 continued to shine individually, but they now fully recognized Tang Wulin as their class president. No one else dared to challenge him, his position as the class president firmly cemented. Luo Guixing's actions stunned him, but after a moment, Tang Wulin smiled and nodded, then walked over to his seat. As if nothing major just happened, Luo Guixing returned to his own seat as well, wearing his usual carefree smile. Zheng Eran stood nearby at Yang Nianxia's side, her lips curled into a sneer. No wonder Xu Yuqing said he couldn't match up to Luo Guixing yesterday. That guy's skin is just too thick. I would never be able to kiss ass like that. Yang Nianxia glanced at her. You could learn a thing or two from him. A man of character knows when to bow and submit. But still, compared to Tang Wulin, Luo Guixing lacks a certain charm, a kind of charisma. Now that I'm looking at him properly, Tang Wulin really is fit to be the class president. Zheng Yiran stared at Yang Nianxia. Have you gone crazy? Are you still not convinced? Zheng Yiran snorted. I'm different from you guys. Poison users like me focus on one-strike kills. So what if he's strong? He's nothing compared to my jade phosphorus snake venom. Why should I acknowledge him? Yang Nianxia shrugged. You do you then. I'm gonna go sit down. Coward. Zheng Yiran watched Yang Nianxia leave, her eyes full of disdain. Then she looked back to Tang Wulin. She didn't know it yet, but she now saw Tang Wulin in a different light. Even if she were aware of this, she would refuse to admit it. Class went by like normal. Wu Zhongkong and Shen Yi didn't comment on the match from the day before. Everyone who made it into Shrek Academy was extremely bright and could make their own conjectures. No matter how strong one was a loss, and conclusions reached on the battlefield were eternal. Attending class was actually the most relaxed part of Tang Wulin's daily schedule. His spiritual power was quite high now, so he had no trouble soaking up the lecture material. It was only during class that he had the chance to relax his body. His afternoons were spent blacksmithing and his evenings were spent cultivating, both of which left him exhausted. He currently didn't bother with combat training. The match against the second grade was only 3 days away. There was no use sharpening his blade any further. He and his team were as prepared as they would ever be. Yuan Yehui and Yu Jingyu were definitely going to be on the opposing team, so Tang Wulin drew up some plans against them. The only thing that made him nervous was what Yuan Yehui got for her fourth soul skill. 3 days later, Elder Cai faced Wu Zhongkong, Shen Yi, and the teacher in charge of the second grade. Today, I will be personally overseeing the match between your two classes. The academy has decided to reward the winners with contribution points. That's, Wu Zhongkong and Shen Yi exchanged a look, then looked to the second grade's teacher. They were all astonished by Elder Cai's words. Although Elder Cai was the headmaster of the outer court, she rarely intervened in its affairs. At her level, her time was better spent cultivating. Becoming a title Dolor was not the end of a soul master's path. One still had to continue cultivating, improving themselves, and consolidating their energies. This, along with the aid of battle armor, would slow down their aging. Yet the Silver Moon Dolor deigned to spend some of her time watching today's match between the first and second grades. It was clear just how much she valued them. This also wasn't the first time she observed the first grade's battles. She had also been present for the selection tournament, just hidden from the view of the students. Am I not welcome to do so? Elder Cai swept her gaze across the three teachers. Of course you are, Shen Yi said hastily. But Elder Cai normally wouldn't care about such trivial matters. Good. Let's go then. Elder Cai had arrived like a storm and left just as quickly. Wu Zhongkong and Shen Yi were helpless when it came to Elder Cai. They were about to head over to the arena for the match when Elder Cai summoned them. Since the headmaster of the outer court would be observing, this match instantly became an event of utmost importance. But this wasn't what Wu Zhongkong and Shen Yi wanted. The age gap between grades wasn't a single year, but 3. They weren't really optimistic about their class's chances of winning. Although 5 of the rankers were in the first grade, the academy kept every student's personal data a secret from the outside world. This meant that the rankings didn't account for students of Shrek Academy from the moment they began attending. The amount of growth one could achieve in 3 years at Shrek Academy definitely wasn't small. With the eyes of the academy's higher-ups now trained on the first grade, a devastating loss would be horrible. The arena was bustling with students from the first and second grades, all of them bursting with excitement and anxious to witness the battle between the champions of each grade. The first grade students were all 13 or 14 years old. The second grade students, on the other hand, ranged from ages 15 to 17. This was due to the fact that there was a limit on how old new students could be, yet there was no minimum requirement. The students of the first grade were jumping with enthusiasm while those of the second grade were relatively calmer. The difference between them was clear. Yuan and Yehue stood at the fore of the second grade. The reverence the second grade students held for her showed in their eyes. It only took a single look from her for the entire class to quiet down. Every student in that class united under her. Several days had passed since the selection tournament, and things had calmed down in the first grade. Since Luo Guixing backed down, none had reason to oppose Tang Wulin any further. But habits weren't so easily broken. Tang Wulin watched Yuan and Yehue and she watched him. Neither said anything. Right now, they stood as representatives of their respective classes, and as opponents. The teachers walked into the arena. At the very front of the procession was the stunning Holy Spirit Dolor. To the astonishment of the students, the Silver Moon Dolor walked beside her. However, what truly shocked Tang Wulin was the fact that Elder Cai was a half a step behind the Holy Spirit Dolor. This served as proof of the Holy Spirit Dolor's status in Shrek Academy. Tang Wulin was certain she still had many secrets. Her main ability had to do with healing, yet her position was even higher than that of her fellow titled Dolor, the Silver Moon Dolor. Huh? He came too? To Tang Wulin's surprise, Elder Li followed the Holy Spirit Dolor and the Silver Moon Dolor, both of which came from the Sea God's Pavilion. Is he from the Sea God's Pavilion? Even if he isn't, his position has got to be really high up. Trailing behind these three illustrious figures were Wu Zhongkong, Xin Yi, the teacher in charge of the second grade, and some profession teachers. There's a lot of important people here today, boss. Xie whispered anxiously. Tang Wulin looked at him. We'll just have to do our best then. Xie nodded in agreement, then snuck a glance at Yuan and Yehue. He didn't know why, but he felt that there was something different about her. As the powerful leader of the second grade, she wasn't their dorm member that day. Xie felt a bit nervous in the face of her imposing aura. He still remembered the thrashings she had given him, fear lingering in his heart. The teachers took their seats on a raised platform that overlooked the arena. Not even a moment later, the door to the arena opened and two more people walked in. They were arguing with each other as they entered. "What the hell are you doing here?" the elderly man on the left said to the one on the right. "I'm here to see my disciple stomp his competition. At the very least, none of those brats in the second grade can challenge him. I'm more interested in seeing his progress. Why are you here? Don't you have things to do on Sea God's Island? This is the outer court. You shouldn't have any business here. I'm here to check how much my grand disciple has grown. I heard he defeated the Hell White Tiger, so I'm curious if he was able to because he mastered the secret art I taught him." "Bah! You've taught him nothing but shit. Don't lead my disciple astray with your tricks. Have you gone mad? You crazy old bastard. I swear, if you dare deceive my disciple, I'll butcher you." "Butcher me? I'm the one who'll kill you. Bring it on. Don't think I won't do it. You're just a craftsman. If you think you got what it takes, let's fight. I only need 1 minute to beat you to a pulp." Bullshit. The people who had just entered were Tang Wulin's blacksmithing teacher, Blazing Dragon Dolor Feng Wuyu, and his grand teacher, Scarlet Dragon Dolor Shuosha. As the two quarreled, their eyes landed on Tang Wulin. Fortunately for him, they still had some reason left in them and didn't run over to him. They ascended the platform and took their seats with the rest of the elders. They gave a slight nod of greeting when they saw the Silver Moon Dolor, but as soon as they saw the Holy Spirit Dolor, they leaped to their feet, backs ramrod straight. Shuosha ran over to her hastily. "Yoli, how are you today?" The Holy Spirit Dolor glanced at him. "I'm here as the referee today." Feng Wuyu popped up on the other side of her, rubbing his hands nervously. "Yoli, long time no see." With his purple demon eyes, Tang Wulin could clearly see what was happening on the platform. He was stunned by the expression on Feng Wuyu's face. Since when could teacher act so bashfully? Why is his face so red? Shuosha turned to the Silver Moon Dolor. Why don't we talk for a bit, Yua? Elder Cai rolled her eyes at him. Why are you two here? If you want to watch the match, then do so quietly. Otherwise, get lost. Isn't it normal for me, an elder of the Sea God's Pavilion, to come watch matches in the outer court? I'm not a blacksmith just coming for entertainment. What's that about blacksmiths? If it weren't for us, would you have battle armor? Just you wait. Once you reach the forward level, I'll tell Zhenhua to leave yours uncovered when crafting your battle armor. Then you can go fight with a bare ass. I've already tolerated you for a long time, Feng Wuyu, but don't you dare provoke me in front of Yoli. I'll whoop your ass. I'm not afraid of you. Bring it on. Enough, the Holy Spirit Doluo barked, giving them a sharp look. Like obedient dogs, the two old men ceased their bickering and shut up. Despite their anger, they said no more. You two were late, so sit in the second row. Don't disturb the children, said the Silver Moon Doluo. Oh. Feng Wuyu tiptoed to the back row. Okay. Shuasha rushed to the seat directly behind the Holy Spirit Doluo. I'll sit behind you. Feng Wuyu was a step too late. He glared at Shuasha, but Shuasha didn't budge. The two then began shoving each other. The Holy Spirit Doluo frowned, and without turning back to face them, said, if you two can't settle down, then leave. Yeah. Shuasha pointed at Feng Wuyu. Settle down. That got the Holy Spirit Doluo to turn around, and she glared at them. Her burning gaze immediately silenced the twin dragons, and they quietly took their seats. She shook her head helplessly, turning back to the stage. Only then did Elder Cai gesture to Shenyi. Hello students of the first and second grade, Shenyi said, rising from her seat. I am Shenyi, the teacher for the first grade. Today's competition will be overseen by the Holy Spirit Doluo and the Silver Moon Doluo. After speaking with the second grade's teacher, we have decided that, in the interest of saving time, each profession's match will consist of one challenge. Now, would both grades' representative blacksmiths come up to the stage? Two massive forging tables had already been prepared on stage. Today's competition had the two classes competing in every aspect. They would first begin with the professions, blacksmiths, designers, makers, and mechanics. The team battle would come last. As his class's blacksmith representative, the first battle was Tang Wulin's to fight. He went up onto the stage. Feng Wuyu had a proud look in his eye as he turned to Shuasha. You'll see what it means to steamroll someone in just a moment. Shuasha rolled his eyes. That's just because my grandisel is that talented. This has nothing to do with you. I'm his blacksmithing teacher. How does it have nothing to do with me? Feng Wuyu fumed. All right, fine. Let me ask you then. What blacksmith rank was my granddisciple when he first got here? The 5th rank. Feng Wuyu answered immediately. And what rank is he now? The 5th rank. Feng Wuyu failed to realize his mistake in time. Shuasha gave him a look of disdain. My granddisciple was already a 5th rank blacksmith when he arrived, which is more than enough to show that he's a blacksmithing genius. He's still a 5th rank right now, which shows you're a useless teacher. He hasn't improved one bit. Nonsense. Feng Wuyu growled and grabbed Shuasha by his collar. Things aren't that black and white. Shuasha didn't resist, and instead simply snorted. What are you doing, attacking those above you? A red hue seeped into Feng Wuyu's eyes. How the hell are you above me? Shuasha smirked. You're my granddisciple's master, and I'm his grand teacher. You and I are from different generations. When you see me, you should at least call me Uncle Master, if not Master. Doesn't that mean you're offending your senior by grabbing me? The Holy Spirit Doluo turned around and glared at them once more. You too? Behave or get out. Feng Wuyu let go of Shuasha and lowered his head, acting as if the commotion had nothing to do with him at all. Shuasha lifted his hands helplessly and shrugged. Then he pinched his fingers and zipped his mouth shut. He didn't say another word. Shrek's twin dragons finally settled down. Elder Cai smiled and whispered into the Holy Spirit Dolor's ear, as expected of you. You're the only one who can keep those two in line. I'm no match for you when it comes to them. The Holy Spirit Dolor shook her head. They are just a pair of buffoons. At that moment, Tang Wulin and his opponent arrived on stage. The boy that stood across from Tang Wulin looked far older than him, about 16 or 17 years old. He had an average appearance and height. The only thing that really caught Tang Wulin's attention was the boy's large hands and muscular arms. He clearly had a calm disposition. His eyes had been glued to the forging table since he arrived. He didn't spare Tang Wulin a single glance. Tang Wulin nodded to himself at his opponent's behavior. As expected of the second grade. He's definitely their best blacksmith. This wouldn't be an easy win for him. Greetings, Senior. My name is Tang Wulin. The boy finally looked at him and nodded. He's Xiaopeng, blacksmith representative of the second grade. Shen Yi stepped forward, coming to a stop at the edge of the platform that overlooked the arena. The first match of today is the blacksmith's exchange. The subject is metal purification. Both of you will be granted a piece of titanium crystal and will have 30 minutes to purify it. Whoever is able to purify it the most will be the winner. They will also be granted 1,000 points, some course credit, and permission to keep both finished products. The first grade will receive 30% more if they win. Titanium crystal? Tang Wulin furrowed his brow at the thought. Some metals were especially hard to forge, a fact that was almost always the result of extreme innate qualities. They were usually too hard or too soft. Titanium crystal was definitely one such metal. It was infamously hard to purify, exceedingly tough, and just as brittle. If a blacksmith used too much strength to forge it, or too little even, they would fail. Blacksmiths had to put a lot more effort into forging metals like it to get a decent result, and because of this, few were capable of forging titanium crystal. However, titanium crystal became far stronger than other metals after being purified and refined. It was common for highly skilled blacksmiths to add some to an alloy to raise that alloy's strength. As a reflection of its amazing properties, titanium crystal cost 60 times more per kilogram than heavy silver. With all that in mind, when Shen Yi declared that the winner could keep both of the forged products, Tang Wulin and He Xiaopeng's gazes sharpened. Their eyes burned hot with determination, which was especially true for Tang Wulin since he understood just how valuable titanium crystal was. It was nearly impossible for the wealthy to obtain, not to mention normal civilians. The Federation considered it a strategic military resource and heavily restricted its supply. Tang Wulin never expected the Academy to offer two pieces just like that. A piece of titanium crystal sat atop both of the forging tables on the stage. Each was about a foot in diameter and abnormally round, almost resembling a crystal ball. Countless intertwining golden threads could be seen within both pieces. The difficulty in forging titanium crystal lay in the need to simultaneously reduce its bulk while untangling the golden threads inside of it. The better the threads were handled, the better the final product would be. It was said that the Tang sect's founder had used the golden threads of a titanium crystal to craft a powerful hidden weapon. Back in East Sea City, Tang Wulin had been fortunate enough to get the chance to forge some titanium crystal. Mu Chen was the one to thank for that opportunity, but in return, Tang Wulin hadn't been allowed to keep the titanium crystal after forging it. To the Blacksmiths Association, it was a rare commodity. Yet, just the experience of forging it was extremely valuable to Tang Wulin. And that experience now brought him confidence. With practiced movements, Tang Wulin and He Xiaopeng placed their pieces within the forging table and began calcining the titanium crystal. Different metals took different lengths of time to calcine. The forging table they both used was top of the line, loaded with the latest tech that made it beyond easy to control the temperature and calcining period. Every blacksmith had their own forging style, and this included how they calcined metal. It was a matter of what forging philosophies they followed. The timer will begin once you finish calcining the metal, Shen Yi said. Tang Wulin and He Xiaopeng focused on calcining the metal. Neither spoke a single word. Coincidentally, the two also closed their eyes. The titled Duluos watching from the platform gave slight nods of approval. Shrek Academy had spared no effort in raising blacksmiths in recent years, even granting extra credit to skilled blacksmiths who took the entrance exam. The academy was simply too lacking in the blacksmiths department. This was also why Feng Wuyu personally led the Blacksmiths Association and focused on rapidly developing it. Shrek Academy aimed to nurture a divine blacksmith. It had numerous titled Duluos, but few full-word battle armor masters. This was all due to the fact that only one divine blacksmith currently lived. That was Shenhua, the president of the Blacksmiths Association, and the only person in existence who could heavenly refine metal. As the president of the Blacksmiths Association, there was a limit to how much preference Shenhua could show Shrek Academy. There were other major powers that he needed to forge for. His schedule was packed beyond belief, and he could only meet a small portion of the forging requests he received. All powers were doing their best to entice him to work for them, but in the end, he was only one man, the only divine blacksmith in the world. Feng Wuyu had been a saint blacksmith for many years now, but he knew he was a ways away from becoming a divine blacksmith. Truth be told, it was practically impossible for him. He had started walking the path of a blacksmith too late. His high cultivation level allowed him to reach his current level in blacksmithing, but in order to advance further, he needed more than just that. This was why he placed his hopes on Tang Wulin. In his eyes, Tang Wulin was a promising youth who could one day learn to heavenly refine and become the next generation's divine blacksmith. Although there were far fewer blacksmiths than any other profession, Shrek Academy had a total of 20 in its first and second grades because of the resources it put into recruiting them. 18 of them sat in the audience with bated breath, waiting for Tang Wulin and He Xiaoping to start forging. Tang Wulin spread his arms, a silver hammer appearing in each of his hands. He pressed a button on the forging table, signaling that the titanium crystal was done calcining. The forging table split in the middle, opening up and allowing a glowing red piece of titanium crystal to rise from its depths. Situated across from Tang Wulin, He Xiaoping noticed what was happening. His ear twitched and he furrowed his brow. The blacksmiths in the audience all cried out in alarm. He finished so quickly. A barrier sealed the stage off from the outside world, so neither Tang Wulin nor He Xiaoping could hear the surprised shouts. The audience was utterly shocked. Even the blacksmiths of the first grade, Yang Nianxia included, didn't dare believe their eyes. They all knew that, due to how brittle titanium crystal was, it required a longer calcining period than normal. Only by calcining it longer would it become soft and easier to forge. To them, Tang Wulin had calcined it too quickly. He had only allowed it to calcine for as long as any other metal. Everyone in the audience was more or less thinking the same thing. Could it be? Does he not understand what titanium crystal is? If he doesn't, then he's in trouble. When forging titanium crystal, a blacksmith's greatest fear was the possibility of it cracking. If it did, its quality would immediately plummet. This fear, as well as any other kinds of damage, was also the reason why it was stored away immediately after being mined. Has our class president never forged this metal before? To be fair, it is really rare. Tang Wulin was oblivious to what was going on off stage. His eyes only reflected the glowing piece of titanium crystal. The forging table had closed back up, and the titanium crystal now sat atop it. Without even the slightest bit of hesitation, Tang Wulin swung his left hammer. Tang Wulin was about to show them the art of forging. Is already starting? Tang Wulin's hammer struck the titanium crystal, 3 melodious notes filling the air. They were the gentlest of strikes, all of which sounded like a pin dropping to the ground. Each note was crisp and clear for everyone to hear. They were music to the ear. Tang Wulin's right hammer followed soon after, and another set of sweet sounds rang out. His hands moved deftly in concert with each other, gently striking the titanium crystal as if he were softly pricking it with needles, filling the air with a delicate symphony. This video will end here. Like video and subscribe to my channel.